Good morning, Tony Dattino. I am the founder of the USA Memory Championship. And in reading the current issue, December issue of Mind, Mood, and Memory, it just continues to focus, or the research continues to focus on the terms isolation and loneliness. And what was most interesting about this particular article is that they really stepped back to define the fact that we use the terms lonely and isolation as if they're interchangeable, as if they mean the same. And what I found unique and really special in this particular article was that they defined the impacts of loneliness and isolation in a much different way. Though when I look at how they even did that, I wonder if there's much of a difference in it. And so I wanted to share that with my Live with Tony audience as a result of the COVID years that we've had. There are so many more people that even in this day and age have changed a lot of their habits, be it going into restaurants. Now here in Florida, I've been inside to a restaurant once in the last 3 years, but the good news in being in Florida is you can have a lot of dining that's outside through most of the year, since the temperatures aren't as cold as they would be in other parts of the country. And we've had some pretty good weather here to that regard, though even during the summer we had some pretty hot temperatures. So where you eat is an important thing. Going out and dining. Shopping, I still see as I go to grocery stores, they still have the Ubers and the pickup at the curb stories, and so there's still a significant number of people that keep that business going, and that they're not eating they're not shopping, excuse me, they're not doing their grocery shopping. However, on the other side, watching football and basketball games now that have started up, there are certainly lots of people that are going into sports stadiums and/or arenas to getting at least back into some level of social interaction and being involved. But here's what I found that was really interesting in this article. It says the terms loneliness and isolation are sometimes used interchangeably. While they are related, certainly they are, obviously, they do mean different things. What I found interesting about this article is they did go back and they looked at some research that was published in the Social Science and Medicine journal, and they were looking to determine in this research, is one more dangerous or more life-threatening than the other, meaning, gee, if you feel socially isolated, is that more dangerous than if you feel lonely? Or if you feel lonely, is that more dangerous than if you are socially isolated? So I'll throw a jump ball up for my Live with Tony audience to think what the research at least revealed. And what was interesting is this was with 14,000 people. And the study in this particular case was age 50 and older, though I would submit to you that this study has far wider applications to a much wider group of people, especially for teenagers and kids that are in school, and the difference of being isolated and lonely. And you'll see that as I go through this. I think research has got to be expanded. I think it's significant. And I just see lots of kids in this debate of lonely and isolation, having friends, being part of a group. So this is a topic I think has got massive implications to our populace. So what they want to do is, hey, which one is more dangerous? And after 4 years, so now this was a 4-year study, and 14,000 people, I think this was significant. They found that social isolation, so being socially isolated, where you didn't have a group of people, or you didn't have a group of friends, or you didn't feel that you would connect, was a stronger predictor of mortality and physical health problems. So if you felt socially isolated, like there was nobody you can even reach out and go talk with, there were no friends, you had no relatives, you just were all by yourself, it was a stronger predictor of dying earlier. So you would die earlier if you felt that there was no one else in your life that was important to you, and you would also have physical health problems. And so it would break down the body's systems, and therefore you'd have more illnesses and health issues anywhere. It's from cognitive impairment to physical diseases to depression, the signs of depression and things. So it was a lot more impactful to your life expectancy. Loneliness, and this is interesting, so follow what they say. Loneliness was more associated with mental health concerns. So if you felt lonely, you were going to be more sad. You had feelings that, now this is interesting, feelings as if life no longer had meaning. So you were lonely and you just existed. You just kind of went through the days, you went through the motions, and life did not have any more meaning. It's a feeling of being alone regardless of your social contacts. So now you do have friends, you do have family, you do have people, but they don't check in on you, they don't follow up and see how you're doing, making sure that you're getting the needs and the things, you're not talking to one. So you feel alone, and you can feel lonely even when you're in a crowd. So I think about, in my younger days, right, I'd go to a party or go to an event, and how many people go to parties and they're deathly afraid because they don't know anybody or they don't feel that they're going to talk to anybody. So you can go into a room of 20 people, and you could be a wallflower and feel lonely. So you have social interaction. You can go out and you can go shop, and you see all these people shopping in the store or in the stadium, but you don't talk to anybody. And you feel totally alone in groups of people. And so you don't feel, you have a moment of sadness, you feel that you leave away and you walk and you say, God, I don't know why I'm existing. So is it much different than, my goodness, I'm going to die earlier, or I'm going to live longer but have no purpose in life, and therefore, what's the point? And I'll get depressed and I feel sad and I don't have joy in my life. You can be content you can feel lonely even when you're in a crowd. Here's the point I wanted to make. But you can be content by yourself for long periods of time and not miss others, but social isolation is more external, referring to the lack of social interaction, whether you're in person or through other means, or even online or phone. So you don't even know you have anybody to talk to if you're socially isolated. So you don't even know who to pick up the phone and talk to. But if you are feeling either, so this is the wrap-up of the article, if you're feeling either lonely or socially isolated, regardless, neither one of them is fun to be in. Reach out to friends, family, to share your feelings and discuss ways that you can address them. And this is one of the elements we're doing in one of our workshops. Knowing this research, I created an exercise called Mystery Guest. And we bring a person into the workshops that we're doing, and we have people begin to think about, just look at this person and think about what questions would you like to ask them about their lives, about where they live or where they're from or how old they are. What are some questions you'd just like to ask this person? And what we're trying to do in the workshop, Connections for Brain Health, is to teach people that there are simple skills that you can develop in just a natural dialogue, in a natural communication, where you can sit on a park bench or you can just walk through a store and you can just find someone walking about that has, geez, nice clothing, or I like their hairdo, or I'm interested, tell me about that food that you're buying. There are safe, simple ways that you can at least engage in a 5-minute, 3-minute conversation. And it's something you practice over a period of time. So we're building skills for the people in the workshop so that they are about their lives, do not feel isolated, for sure, and certainly don't want them to feel lonely and that their life has had no purpose. And what we're discovering is that people that are able to do that, even for a 10-minute, I go outside and I meet 2 or 3 people, they come back into their home environment and they just feel so much more energized. They feel like their day has done something. It's got a purpose. I met some interesting people, and I learned some fascinating things about them. Like, wow, I just kind of read a history book, or I just shared an experience. where I don't feel alone and I don't feel isolated anymore. And so whether you're feeling lonely or you're feeling isolated, I don't think we want to sign up for either one. And what's interesting to me and what's been fascinating is that there are skills that we can learn, there are things that we can do that are safe, enjoyable, and fun that we can at least be a part of. And it's how we look at this mentally that then makes a huge difference in our feelings of sadness, depression, and cognitive impairment. And who wants to feel any more lonely than feeling, my goodness, I've lost my memory. I've lost my ability to relate to people. I don't have comprehension. I don't remember names of people. I don't remember what I did yesterday. And I just find myself going into an abyss to where I just fall into this black hole. And so we're working to accomplish with the people we interface with, how do you avoid these things? Because we know they're not wonderful things that you want to experience in your life. And therefore, let's take some simple steps and let's start to work together as teams of people that we just reconnect with different people and we just teach people how to get along with different people and expand their social circles. This is important. I found this research extremely interesting and it just keeps coming. This whole topic of isolation and loneliness is just hitting the science journals on a regular basis. And it's time for us to get more proactive and more preventative in the things that we can do and build people around us that can help us do that. I will not be on Friday. It's off to Charleston for a basketball tournament to see St. John's in a 3-day tournament that they're doing in Charleston, South Carolina, I guess, Charleston, South Carolina. And off we go for at least a few days to watch some NCAA college basketball. So I will return on Monday. I'll be back on November 20 with my next Live with Tony. You have a good week, a good weekend, and enjoy your shopping. And make it a point of talking to a cashier or talking to someone you meet and noting something that you can compliment them on. A smile they have, maybe it's a piece of clothing they have on that you look, maybe it's a grocery item they're picking up, but get out there, sit on a park bench and just watch kids playing and compliment the kids on, boy, that looks like you were having some fun. That looks really enjoyable. How long have you been doing that? Who teaches you how to play that game? Just find things that are fun and interesting. You'd be amazed at the response that you'll get. See you on Monday.